Now on CoastTV News.
Workplace complaints against Lewis's deputy mayor. Banned from the boardwalk.
You hold people to account for those rules.
More arrests after this college takeover. A key voter deadline, what Delaware voters need to do by next week.
Well, we're finally starting to get a little rain in our neck of the woods, but just in time to spoil your weekend.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
You may see a lot of brake lights this weekend. Memorial Day weekend travel is shifting into full gear. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Brandon Ferguson. We begin with busy roads expected this rainy Memorial Day weekend. The busiest day of Memorial Day weekend travel, that's expected to be tomorrow. But new storms are firing up right now and it's what's set to be a holiday weekend washout.
On a rain-soaked highway near Chattanooga, a very close call this afternoon as a semi tips over on I-24, sending sparks flying as it skids down the highway. While America's biggest city continues to dry out from the deluge that flooded streets, highways, and intersections, snarling traffic. New Yorkers wading through knee-deep water, with high winds bringing down trees and power lines Wednesday. A Waymo taxi flooded out in Atlanta and heavy traffic today. Meanwhile, one of New York's critical high-density runways remains closed tonight.
422 is closed for a sinkhole over there.
After a sinkhole opened up on LaGuardia Runway 4.
The tower just called us and said they cannot take any more airplanes.
As the weather led to a cascade of delays and cancellations at all three New York airports. One Newark passenger says he was stuck on a plane for hours.
We ended up just sitting on the tarmac for 7 hours.
America's two busiest airports, Chicago and Atlanta, packed today.
Come early and just prepare for anything.
And the start of more record-breaking passenger levels this summer. For its part, American expects to carry a record 75 million passengers between now and Labor Day. That's 500 customers every minute. And Americans are paying more. Domestic airfares now averaging $441 round trip, up 53% from a year ago. On the nation's roads, the national average now $4.56 a gallon, up from $3.18 a year ago, with the war pushing gas prices above $4 in all 50 states.
It's definitely a problem because we are headed to South Carolina, so this is a long trip.
We're now looking out on Route 1 near Rehoboth Beach, and that road is sure to get busier over the weekend. You see a lot of cars on it right now. AAA is projecting a busy holiday weekend for Delaware travelers. Nearly 130,000 Delawareans are expected to travel at least 50 miles from home between today and Monday. Most of them will drive. More than 113,000 people are expected to hit the roads. AAA says that would make it a record-breaking Memorial Day weekend. Locally, despite concerns over rising gas prices, according to the Maryland Transportation Authority, over 330,000 vehicles will cross the Bay Bridge between Friday and Memorial Day. And all that driving will happen as we are dealing with some of the highest gas prices this decade. According to AAA, the national average per gallon is at $4.53. In Delaware, that's slightly lower at $4.35 a gallon, with Sussex County's average 2 cents higher than the state. Maryland, that's at $4.60 a gallon. The average price for Eastern Shore counties is set at $4.42, with Wicomico County having $4.38 a gallon. We're now going to take a live look into Milford and bring in First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams for a look at our rainy forecast. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. We're finally getting a little bit of precipitation. Now, don't get enough don't get overly excited because it's not enough to put a dent in our drought situation, but it's getting just a little bit better for us. Now, we are expecting the sprinkles, I'm going to call them heavy sprinkles for right now, to stick around until the 1 o'clock hour for us in Rehoboth. We're about 16 to 17 degrees cooler now than we were this exact same time yesterday, so we have gotten cooler. We're in the 50s right now. We're at 57 in Rehoboth, Lewis, Indian River Inlet, and Bethany Beach. 57 degrees also in Millsboro and Delmar. Here's the latest look at the radar. Not much in the way of precipitation. We got some that's pushing across. Isolated at best. This is where we are right here. Now, We do have a concern for rip currents for Friday. We have a new rip current statement that's active for us. Rehoboth Beach, Dewey Beach, as well as Lewis. And this reaches all the way down from Ocean View, South Bethany, Fenwick Island. Rip current statement or rip current concerns until 8 o'clock for Friday evening. That may be extended a little bit longer depending on how this precipitation that we're finally beginning to track moves across our region. It's not a whole lot, but it's at least a decent start, but we're still in the midst of a drought situation. Coming up, we'll talk about more in the way of rain that we're expecting over the holiday weekend.
Thank you, Paul. Lewis's city manager and deputy city manager have filed former workplace complaints against Deputy Mayor Khalil Saliba. The complaints accuse Saliba of harassment, bullying, retaliation, and discrimination, alleging a pattern of hostile behavior dating back to the summer of 2025. The complaints include claims of intimidation, public humiliation, and an alleged comment involving a gun during a conversation about staffing for a city event. Saliba tells CoastTV those allegations are categorically false. The city manager and deputy city manager are asking for an independent review and for Saliba to resign from Lewis Council. Several fire companies were called to this house fire on your screen near Georgetown last night. It happened around 7 on Gate Drive in Liberty West development off of Hollyville Road. Everyone was thankfully reported out of the home, as you see the damage right there. And the Delaware State Fire Marshal Office is investigating that fire. On your screen now are the Delaware State University students who have turned themselves in after a Rehoboth Beach takeover. All 3 were issued a no-contact order with the city of Rehoboth Beach, meaning they are no longer allowed in the city. But Eric Barnett is still wanted for an unauthorized party on Tuesday night, resulting in several public drinking and smoking arrests, according to Rehoboth PD. The warrants for all 4 promoters were for intent to commit or facilitate a riot and second-degree conspiracy. The 3 other promoters who did turn themselves in were released later today, and one viewer that was on the boardwalk and sent us those videos described Tuesday night as a flash mob with a lot of public smoking and drinking. And Rehoboth Beach police say this is actually the 5th beach party in just the last 2 months.
There has to be accountability, always. If there's rules, you hold people to account for those rules, and if they overstep, then they face the punishment, whatever that is. And hopefully that deters things from future events.
All 4 promoters are currently students at the Delaware State University. The takeover drew response from 6 separate local police departments and Delaware State Police. There's possibly another takeover coming, as there is another flyer going around social media. You see it right there on your screen. Rehoboth police say they are aware of it and they will monitor it for the upcoming weeks leading up to the takeover. The flyer says Saturday, June 13th at noon is when that new takeover will happen. And as we are closing in on Memorial Day weekend, it's the unofficial start of the summer season, and many coastal communities are preparing for an influx of visitors, especially teens. CoastTV News reporter Elisa Weber tells us how Dewey Beach officials say every year after Memorial Day weekend, the town faces a problem with June bugs.
School is getting out and the summer season is right around the corner. Coastal communities like Dewey Beach are a popular destination for teens.
So every year in the first week or 2 of June, we have a lot of seniors come down for senior week. We call them June bugs.
Ahead of the holiday weekend, Dewey is reminding everyone that there is a curfew in place for those 17 and under from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Unaccompanied minors are not permitted on the beach or in public spaces during this time, but there are exceptions.
If they're coming or going from work, like I said, if they're running an errand for a parent, if they're doing something that's legitimate, that's not just hanging out in the town of Dewey Beach, there's no issues. The problem is we get 200 or 300 kids in some of these parking lots with nothing to do, and then trouble ends up breaking out.
That's why Dewey Beach says the focus is on education first and enforcement second, encouraging everyone to make safe and responsible choices this Memorial Day weekend. For CoastTV News, I'm Elisa Weber.
And this brings us to our CoastTV poll. We want to know what concerns you most about these boardwalk takeover events. Let's take a look at the results. So far, majority 73% saying public safety, 21% saying crowd behavior. And we actually do have a comment tonight. Here's a comment from Bruce Brew in Selbyville, He says, it's a trend and some of these irresponsible kids think it's cool to disrupt public areas. If they are underage, arrest them and their parents. Disrespect is not acceptable. If you haven't voted yet, you still can on CoastTV.com or on our mobile app. And we've been talking about it Memorial Day weekend. It's on the horizon, meaning a lot of people are headed to beach spots like Dewey Beach, but police say they're unfortunately expecting an uptick in jaywalking across Coastal Highway. Police say the extra signs and the median fence installed by the town have helped with the issue, but officials say they're still having problems with people jaywalking, especially on busy weekends. Anyone caught jaywalking in Dewey can expect about a $111 fine between the base citation and some additional fees.
Crosswalks are there for a reason. We do urge people that are using these crosswalks to be mindful, though, that there may be vehicles out there that do not see them. So you have to use good common sense and be well guarded when you're crossing the intersections.
Police say they'll have extra officers out there enforcing rules this weekend. They say neighboring departments will be providing officers as well to handle the extra people expected in Dewey Beach. Higher gas prices could be on the way to Maryland, but not for the reason you may think. Each year, Maryland reevaluates its gas tax. It uses a complicated formula, but this is basically what it boils down to. If inflation is up and gas prices are up, there's a good chance the state's gas tax will go up too. Based on that formula, lawmakers from the shore are worried that come July 1st, Marylanders will be paying more at the pump than they already are.
You have two components of it that could be pretty significant as far as an increase. So we reached out to the comptroller. We have not had an answer back yet. When I say we, referring to the House Republican caucus, we reached out looking for her, what her thoughts were and her anticipation.
Wayne Hartman says Republican lawmakers are willing to propose a 30-day gas tax holiday. An identical proposal was put forward back in March, but was shot down by the Maryland General Assembly. A new plan from federal officials to prevent a fast-moving Ebola outbreak in Africa from arriving in the United States. It comes as an Ebola clinic in the Democratic Republic of Congo goes up in flames. Maggie Vespa shows us the latest.
Tonight, outrage amid Africa's Ebola outbreak. New video showing a medical clinic engulfed in flames. Authorities say protesters were angry officials wouldn't release the body of a loved one likely killed by the virus. Here, beds burned to a crisp. Experts stressing safe burials are critical because Ebola can spread through contact with infected remains. This as the race to contain the outbreak wreaks havoc in the skies, with an Air France flight to Detroit diverted to Canada Wednesday after U.S. officials say a passenger from the Democratic Republic of Congo boarded in error. Customs and Border Protection not clarifying whether the traveler had recently been in the DRC or was exhibiting symptoms of Ebola. Debbie Mister was on that flight.
I'm very concerned. I have friends that have, immune problems. Why was this person allowed on this plane? How did they slip through?
The U.S. now sending all passengers who have visited affected countries in the last 3 weeks to Washington Dulles International Airport, where the CDC will conduct enhanced public health entry screenings. Meanwhile, chilling new images of Dr. Peter Stafford, the American surgeon infected with Ebola, in a fully enclosed biocontainment pod earlier this week. The doctor saying, before I was evacuated, I was feeling really concerned I wasn't going to make it. And now I'm cautiously optimistic. But experts say with cases soaring in Africa, global spread is likely.
Would you be surprised to see cases in the U.S.? I would not be surprised to see cases in the United States. However, we do have a network of hospitals that are prepared to deal with it. It gives us an advantage over other countries.
Coming up, World 2 Watchtowers on the Coast, our series highlighting American history here on Delmarva. Paul Williams is in the First Alert Weather Center. He has your full forecast coming up. But first, one pledge, one tradition that keeps growing. How a weekly gathering in Bethany Beach is bringing together locals, veterans, and even visitors.
A group in Bethany Beach comes together every Wednesday morning for a tradition that is rooted in patriotism and community. In this week's Coastal Connections, Elisa Weber shows us how people of all ages gather to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, something that's now been going on for 5 years.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Every Wednesday at 8:30 a.m., a group gathers on the Bethany Beach Boardwalk to recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
With liberty and justice for all.
We've had people come here just off hip surgery. One guy came just having a valve replaced in his heart. You know, it's just one of those things that's got to be important in our lives.
This May marked 5 years since the group first started meeting. Organizers Bill Murphy and Bob Lawless say the weather has never stopped them from showing up.
We've had drizzle happen. We've had snow flurries happen.
Umbrellas once in a while.
But never been stopped because of weather in 5 years.
For attendees like retired Rear Admiral Marianne B. Drew, the gathering is also a chance to connect with others who served.
Every time is its own story because people come up and they talk about where they've served and what they've done.
Well, we really ought to do something about just celebrating the fact that we, the people, are the reason for this country.
In addition to bringing together locals, the group also draws visitors spending time at the beach.
We have visitors who've been down here for their summer vacation who recognize it and come back a couple of years in a row.
Murphy and Lawless say they have no plans to stop anytime soon. So if you're in Bethany Beach on a Wednesday morning at 8:30, they invite you to join. For Coastal Connections, I'm Elisa Weber.
America 250 on Delmarva, brought to you by Johnny Janosic.
Along Delaware's coast, the World War II observation towers have become a familiar sight, standing tall along the shoreline. 11 observation towers were built along the Delaware coast during World War II to help protect the region from German U-boats offshore. U-boats were enemy warships, and one even surrendered off the Delaware coast. The concrete structures range from about 39 to 75 feet tall and once served as lookout points for soldiers watching the water. 2 towers are open to the public, one south of Dewey Beach and one in Cape Henlopen State Park. Supporters say the towers are an important reminder that the Delaware coast was once part of the front lines of World War II.
Find savings everywhere you turn during the Memorial Day sale at Johnny Janosic. Get our guaranteed lowest prices on furniture and mattresses. Then take an extra 20% off or 0% APR financing for 60 months. Plus 10% off all Tommy Bahama styles. Get this impressive 5-piece power sectional for only $24.88 or this stunning outdoor dining set for just $19.88. Now through Memorial Day Monday, only at Johnny Janosic.
So we have been systematically trying to simply ask Mother Nature, hey, how about setting out a little bit of rain on our side of the fence, you know? Not really happening. We had some rain well to our north, but not much is happening here. A little bit of wet roads briefly, but not everywhere. In Ocean City, we're drying up as far as any kind of precipitation there is concerned. Temperature staying in the 50s. We have a small craft advisory that's active along the coast, but the bigger story is actually a newly issued rip current statement indicating that watching out for the possibility of rip currents causing some complications. In case you're going to be in the water, it's going to pull you out a lot deeper in the water than you expect. So be mindful of that at North Shores Beach, Rehoboth, Lewis, Johnny Walker Beach. That also goes all the way down from Fenwick Island, Indian River Inlet, all the way down towards Ocean City. Now we do have a little bit of rain that just kind of skipped through Long Neck, Cave Colony, and over towards the east and off the water, but really not much as far as cohesive storm systems are concerned. That's still on the other side of the Chesapeake Bay. We're waiting for it to arrive because, to be honest, we haven't had any measurable precipitation throughout the entire day. Even though radar and the forecasting models and everything's saying green all over the place, which is indicating rain theoretically, most of it's not reaching the ground. We got a lot of moisture, a lot of cloud cover, but nothing's really reaching around. That's measurable precipitation at our official sites. 72 for the high today in Salisbury and Ocean City. We warmed up to 74 in Georgetown, which is only 2 degrees away from the norm. The norm is 76, but we've been playing these 95s for the last 3 days. So now this feels like a somewhat cooler day, although it's actually more of the norm for this time of the year. Falling into the 50s, we're at 58 degrees in Redding right now, as well as Georgetown, and 59 currently, Bridgeville and Seaford. So we take a look at Friday morning. Passing spot showers and sprinkles, once again, with the winds coming off of the water, adding more moisture in place, but not a significant, significant amount of rain that's trying to form. We may see some rain more so on Saturday. Now, the Saturday storms, let me rephrase that. The Saturday showers, because, they don't have enough class to be storms at this point. The Saturday showers look like they're going to be hit and miss variety for us in Chincoteague as well as Assateague for Friday and Saturday. Backing off on Sunday, although still cloudy on Sunday. We should get a break from the rain there. We'll see it more in the way of sprinkles on Sunday for Ocean City and Fenwick Island. Temperatures approaching the 70-degree mark. And we're looking for the same pattern with Lewis and Rehoboth Beach. Now, please keep in mind, Friday, Saturday. Saturday is the day I'm expecting the best chance of heavy showers. Sunday, early in the morning, but not the rest of the day. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We're calling for those evening showers on Saturday going into early Sunday morning. And then you'll have a chance to at least barbecue Sunday, because it's going to rain on Memorial Day.
Thank you, Paul. Keep that noted. The Horseshoe Crab and Shorebird Festival in Milton is being pushed back just because of that forecast Paul was talking about. The Milton Chamber says the festival will now be held on Sunday, June 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Milton Memorial Park. You may remember this event was canceled last year due to rising costs. When this event does happen, visitors can expect vendors, food trucks, and activities focused on Delaware's coastal wildlife. A key deadline is coming up in Delaware. Voters must be registered as Democrats or Republicans to vote in their party's primary election. Remember, Delaware is a closed primary, so non-affiliated voters cannot vote. The deadline to change party is on May 29th. Voters can change their affiliation online, by mail, or in person at a county election offices. The primary itself, that's on September 15th. And there are a number of bills that could change components of primaries, including party affiliation. We have an article up right now on CoastTV.com on all of those topics. And tougher oversight on data center development in Delaware, that could be soon coming. State lawmakers are set to unveil a new proposal tomorrow aimed at strengthening regulations on large data centers. The plan would create new safeguards for Delaware's electrical grid while preventing energy costs linked to those facilities from being passed on to customers. The proposal will be unveiled tomorrow at 2 in Dover.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
It's no secret that the Philadelphia Eagles love drafting Georgia Bulldogs and occasionally don't care about the red flags that come off the field with selecting a UGA standout. But they'll have to care now because one of their former first-round selections, pass rusher Nolan Smith, was arrested after allegedly driving 135 miles an hour. This was all in Georgia. Smith, who is underproduced on the field, now facing issues off the field. Only 10.5 sacks in 3 years for Smith, and just 3 in his third year in the league in 2025. So what's next for Smith? Well, he'll have to await potential punishment from the league, which is not very often for speeding tickets. Just ask Cleveland Browns megastar Myles Garrett, who has been cited for speeding at least 7 times since entering the league in 2017 and has never faced league discipline for those actions. All of that, according to NFL.com. Smith, he won't need to appear in court in July if he pays a traffic citation fine. In sad news, 2-time Cup Series champion Kyle Busch has died at 41 years old. He was hospitalized earlier today with a severe illness and passed this evening. He has won more races across the sport's 3 national series than any other driver in history. He also won the Craftsman Truck Series race last Friday in Dover, Delaware. Condolences to his family.
In this week's Feel Good Friday newsletter, we have a list of Memorial Day ceremonies you can take part in to pay tribute to our fallen heroes. In this week's team feature, we'll have a travel blog of sorts, including Madeline Overtur's travel trip to Italy 2 weeks ago. Plus, we're back with another news quiz, which means another chance to win CoastTV sunglasses. And we have your weekend cool things to do. All of that and more each Friday. You can scan that QR code. It's a full feature list of features, cool things to do, and more each Friday. You can sign up now for our Feel Good Friday newsletter at coasttv.com/sign-up. And as millions of people flock to beaches this Memorial Day weekend, a danger is lurking. hurricanes. The Atlantic hurricane season kicks off June 1st, but there is good news. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is forecasting a below-average season. Specifically, the agency is predicting 8 to 14 named storms through November 30th. Of those, NOAA expects 3 to 6 to become hurricanes, with up to 3 reaching Category 3 or stronger.
And we're in a super El Nino season, so yeah, things are going to be a little bit different than usual. So in Lewis, we're looking for a few sprinkles to stick around until the 1 o'clock hour. We're tracking some light sprinkles to our north, but as far as our immediate area is concerned, it's really intermittent at best for us. Now, we do have the active rip current that's in effect for us, concerned, but other than that, we're staying relatively quiet for right now. Roger West of Harbison, you're our umbrella giveaway winner, courtesy of Paul Davis, Property Restoration Experts. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstead, Mandalas, and Federico. The number to call is 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away. Finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Now, we are calling for a yellow alert day for Saturday evening going into Sunday morning because we're expecting, according to our forecasting models, to get at least an inch of rain in excess of 35-mile-per-hour winds.
Thank you, Paul, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, you can download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, that's up next. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.